Right now, somewhere in the back of your mind, you know you're going to die. You've always known it. You've read the number of years a human gets. You've watched it happen to others. And yet, if you sit quietly and try to truly picture your own death, not the idea of it, but the actual end of you, the moment your thoughts simply stop, something strange happens. Your mind slides off it, it refuses to land. That isn't a personal failing. That's your brain doing exactly what it was built to do. You think you understand death. You don't. Not really. Because the organ you would need to understand it with is the one organ that has quietly decided you are the exception. Let me show you what your brain is hiding from you. Start with a simple fact. You are the only animal on Earth that knows in advance that its own existence has an expiration date. A gazelle runs from a lion because fear floods its body in the moment. It does not lie awake at night, years before any lion appears, dreading the lion that will eventually come. You do? You carry your ending with you everywhere, folded up small and tucked out of sight. The anthropologist Ernest Becker built his entire life's work around this single idea. In his book, The Denial of Death, he argued that almost everything humans do, the monuments, the religions, the empires, the desperate need to be remembered, is fueled by one hidden engine, the refusal to accept that we are temporary. Becker believed that civilization itself is a vast, elaborate machine for not thinking about the grave. Read that again. The cities, the art, the need to matter, all of it, he said, is a shield. But here's where it gets stranger. Becker was a philosopher. He was making an argument. For decades, no one could prove that your brain actually behaves this way. It was a beautiful idea, with no evidence underneath it. Then the experiments began. In the 1980s, 3 psychologists, Jeff Greenberg, Sheldon Solomon, and Tom Pischinsky, decided to test Becker's idea in a laboratory. They called their framework terror management theory. The name sounds dramatic, but the experiments were quiet and clinical. They would simply remind people subtly that they were going to die. A questionnaire about their own funeral. A few minutes spent near a cemetery. Then they would measure what changed. What changed was almost everything. People reminded of their own death became more loyal to their own group, more suspicious of outsiders, more eager to punish those who broke the rules, more desperate to defend their beliefs, their nation, their team, their version of reality. A gentle nudge toward the thought of dying, and ordinary people became more tribal, more rigid, more afraid. Why would a thought do that? Because your beliefs are the second shield. If your body can't last forever, then your ideas must. Your country, your faith, your family name, your work, these are the things that promise to outlive you. So when something threatens them, your brain reacts as if it is fighting for survival itself. Because, in a strange and ancient sense, it is. You have felt this. You have felt the heat rise in your chest when someone insults something you believe in. It feels like an attack on you. Now you know why. It is your mortality, defended by proxy. But none of this explains the deepest trick. Knowing you will die is one thing. The real mystery is why you can never quite believe it. For that, we need to go inside the brain itself. In 2019, a research team at Bar-Ilan University, led by Yair Dor-Zitterman, designed an experiment to catch the brain in the act. They wanted to see what happens neurologically when a person is forced to associate death with themselves, not with a stranger, with themselves. Here's how they did it. They showed people a series of faces on a screen. Above each face flashed a word, sometimes a word about death, sometimes a neutral word. Sometimes the face was a stranger's, and sometimes the face was the participant's own. The brain has a beautiful automatic system for prediction. It constantly guesses what is coming next, and when it guesses wrong, it fires a specific signal of surprise. The researchers watched for that surprise signal. They wanted to know whether the brain would link the concept of death to the self. It refused. When death words appeared next to a stranger's face, the brain connected them easily. Stranger, death, fine. The system predicted it and accepted it. But when death words appeared next to the person's own face, the brain's prediction system essentially shut the association down. It treated the pairing of me and death as a prediction error, as something that could not be true. The brain was, in the researchers' own description, shielding us from existential threat by quietly categorizing death as something that happens to other people. Sit with that. At the level of raw electrical signal, before any conscious thought, your brain files death under them, never under you. This is not denial in the way we usually mean it. You are not lying to yourself on purpose. The lie is built in lower than thought. It runs underneath your awareness in the same machinery that lets you catch a ball or flinch from a snake. By the time the idea of your own death reaches your conscious mind, it has already been softened, blurred, pushed gently to one side. So when you try to imagine your own ending and your mind slides off it, that is not weakness. That is a system, hundreds of thousands of years in the making, doing its job perfectly. And it raises a question that should unsettle you. If your brain hides your death this well, what else does it hide? Simply because the truth would be unbearable. But step back for a moment, because there is a reason this shield exists. It is not a flaw. It is a survival tool. Imagine an early human, one of your direct ancestors, standing on a plain 100,000 years ago. This human has just developed something no creature ever had before, a mind powerful enough to model the future, to plan a hunt days in advance, to imagine winter before it arrives. This foresight was a gift. It made your ancestors the most dangerous and adaptable animals alive. But foresight came with a curse attached. The same mind that could imagine next winter could also imagine the final winter, the one that ends everything. A creature that could fully grasp its own death, vividly at all times, might simply stop. Why hunt? Why build? Why love anyone, knowing they will be taken from you and you from them? The terror could have been paralyzing. It could have frozen your species before it ever began. So evolution did what it always does. It found a workaround. It did not remove the knowledge of death, because that knowledge was too useful for avoiding danger. Instead, it wrapped that knowledge in a layer of disbelief. You would know about death in the abstract, enough to fear the lion and flee the cliff, but you would not truly feel it as your own fate. The shield let your ancestors carry the world's heaviest knowledge without being crushed by it. You are alive today because they could forget they would die. Think about how that shapes the way you live right now. You make plans for decades you are not guaranteed to see. You worry about things that will not matter in 100 years. You scroll, you rush, you postpone the call to someone you love because there will always, surely, be time. The shield whispers that the end belongs to other people, and so you live as if the clock is not running. Even though you have seen the clock with your own eyes, there is something almost tender in this arrangement. Your brain is not trying to deceive you out of cruelty. It is protecting you, the way it has protected every human who ever lived, so that you can get up in the morning and care about small things and build a life worth ending. But here is the part the science cannot decide for you. Now you know the shield is there, you can feel its edge, and once you can see the mechanism that hides your death from you, you have a choice no gazelle and no ancestor ever had so clearly. You can let the shield run your whole life on autopilot, or you can now and then lower it on purpose. Because the people who briefly face it, really face it, tend to report the same thing. The fog lifts, the petty resentments shrink, the hour with a friend stops feeling infinite and starts feeling precious. The awareness of an ending is the only thing that makes the middle feel like anything at all. So go back to where we started. Right now, somewhere in the back of your mind, you know you are going to die. Your brain has spent your entire life making sure you never quite believe it. Maybe, just for a moment, you can believe it. Not to frighten yourself, to wake yourself up. Because the same shield that lets you forget your ending is the only reason you have a life long enough to notice it slipping by. The question was never whether you will die. Your brain settled that argument before you were born by deciding the answer was no. The question is what you'll do with the strange borrowed time that lie has been protecting all along.